Def.
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 Bye.
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 Hello everybody and welcome to Death by Daylight again. My name is Josh. We are going to try to get this episode off without a hitch. I think I figured out what the problem is, even though it doesn't make a lot of sense. But that's alright, as long as it keeps working. If it doesn't keep working, I imagine we'll have to start at square one, because the issue is very simple but very stupid. So it's just that my headset isn't working, and I wasn't. I tried switching them out, so if we go down again, we might not be coming back up. But we'll figure that out. We'll cross that bridge when we get to it. Hopefully, we have some people that listen. Did you put in the chat that we were starting over?
I don't think we had anyone viewing, so I think we should
sure.
be good.
Double-edged sword, I guess.
We're only live for like a minute the last one, so
Yeah, it's all
we're
good.
starting fresh.
We've got 2 people watching now, and I'm jumping on, so
I'm one of the ones watching.
Don't say that, Michelle.
I mean, no. I was tricked to see if y'all were listening.
Well, you've already heard their voices, but I'm here with Michelle.
Hello.
And I'm here with Ernie.
Hello.
And we might get some people later. Honestly, we have no fucking clue. But we'll see what happens. For sure, we're not getting Juan. We might get Jesus. And that'll be it. But we have a great episode for you tonight. It's an information jam-packed episode. So I'm going to do my best to, first of all, do a little hangout before we even get into it. And then I'm going to do my best to go between myself and Michelle and the information that we might have, so that you don't just hear my voice the whole time. And we'll take it from there. So first things first, as always, what are we drinking tonight?
PBR.
Oh. I like me a PBR. Actually, I have PBR downstairs. I might have one later. What about you? Shooting anything?
No, I ran out of bourbon, so just drinking some burr.
Nice. What about you, Michelle?
I am drinking some sherry and tonic.
Sherry.
Yeah, it's specifically the Amontillado, so it's like nice and nutty and delicious and dry.
Josh likes things nutty.
Nutty and dry.
A bit nutty.
So I have that, some soda water, and I need to go pick a bottle so I can shoot things.
That's exciting.
You guys. So I'll probably choose my usual or some rum. Yeah.
Well, I've slowed down quite a bit over the last month and a half on my consumption, and so I'm treating myself this evening with a Deschutes fresh squeezed, which if you've listened to our early episodes, you know that is among my favorite beer. It is an IPA, little grapefruit in there. Everybody knows how much I love grapefruit. And it is delicious. I've had a couple of sips so far, and it is everything I dreamed that it would be. And I've got some Jose Cuervo. I've also got some New Amsterdam grapefruit vodka. I've gone away from Deep Eddies because it's twice as expensive, and they decided not to sponsor us even after 36 episodes or whatever. So maybe I'll go back to it when my Christmas bonus comes in and I'm feeling... Although I think what I'm going to do is, if we have a New Year's episode somewhere around there, I'm going to have some fucking Lagavulin.
Nice.
Which I'm very, very excited about. If I decide I'm going to pay $110 for a bottle of fucking scotch. Anyway, our jam-packed episode today is going to be about the Zodiac Killer. We're excited about that. We're going to be doing... we're going to be covering the movie, parts of the movie, but mostly it's going to be in the context of what actually happened. So I'm going to talk about, for me personally, so I'm going to be talking about the movie in 100% in the frame of what actually happened, and then obviously very simple stuff about what I thought worked and what I thought didn't. Spoiler alert, I thought a lot of it worked. I think it's a fantastic movie, and it's not necessarily a horror movie. As a matter of fact, I would say it's not at all a horror movie, but it is a thriller, and the reason it falls into our scope of things is obviously because of the real-life Zodiac. So pretend that it's just a serial killer episode, and we happen to be talking about this thriller movie that goes along with it. And even before that, I know, Michelle, you prepared a cocktail for us.
Dun dun dun.
Oh, bartender minute.
Yes, I did. I have my notes. Let me... Of course, it decided to disappear. So, so again, we're talking about mainly, like you mentioned, the Zodiac Killer, and then, it just so happens to be that there's this great movie about him named Zodiac. And I think you all know where I'm going with this as far as a drink. There's the scene that has to be my absolute favorite, where Jake Gyllenhaal's character orders the Aqua Velva, and it's this bright blue cocktail that comes out with an umbrella, and Robert Downey Jr.'s character is just looking at him like, what the fuck are you doing? To which he responds, you wouldn't be making fun of me if you... Oh gosh, I messed it up. If basically, like, you wouldn't be making fun of it if you tasted it, right?
Yeah.
And then it cuts to the next scene of them with, like, 4 empty ones and ordering more. So, again, it's my favorite moments in the film because it's so relatable, especially me, a bartender, and a fluent drinker. So if you want to make the original, it's really easy. It's equal parts vodka and gin, so about 1.5 ounces each.
Okay.
And 3/4 ounces of blue curacao, hurricane glass filled with ice, and then you just top it with 7-Up or Sprite. However, that's not what I would give you. If you came to my bar and you ordered that for me, I would make this, and I called it the Vicious Velva. So it's going to have 2 ounces of gin, preferably Hendricks Orbium. I know people are iffy with gin, but I know people tend to like Hendricks. But if you try a different expression of theirs, I recommend this one. Then I'm going to go with 1/2 ounce of Solerno, which is a blood orange liqueur, which is basically what blue curacao is. It's an orange liqueur, but fuck Blue Sea. No one likes Blue Sea. Fuck Blue Sea. Then 1/2 ounce of Aperol. If you ever get a cocktail from me, definitely going to have something bitter.
That's why you hear me over here like, oh.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm getting Murray's and Eve flashbacks.
Oh yeah. And then of course 3/4 ounce of lemon juice, 3/4 ounce of a butterfly pea blossom syrup. The reason I added that, and it's really easy to make, you just steep the tea. You can find the tea anywhere in like big grocery stores now. And you guys, if you've been to Eve, A Love at Elvis, you've seen it. It's our house gin. It's dark blue, but once you add acidity, its pH indicative changes colors, right? So that's my fuck Blue Sea. We're gonna add this for the color.
That's better.
So mix all of that, top it, highball, crushed ice, top it with a little bit of sparkling water, and then we're gonna float hibiscus tea because I wanted something tart and refreshing and add like a dark or blood element to it. And if you've seen super concentrated hibiscus tea, it looks kind of blood-like, and we are talking about a serial killer after all. But you still have the blue in the bottom, the red at the top, and don't forget to garnish with a bloody piece of t-shirt or a cryptogram written on rice paper. Boom.
Wow.
I need this cocktail.
I was gonna say, it sounds complicated. It's not. The hardest part is just heating up water to make these teas.
Yeah.
That's it.
Well, sometimes we're hit or miss here because we have, like, I mean, not everything is on theme is going to be delicious, but, I mean, that sounded delicious.
Yeah.
If you were listening to our episodes where Michelle was a guest, we have talked about her feats as a bartender before, but if you didn't, then I will tell you now that she is nationally recognized as one of the best bartenders in the country. And so we're very lucky to have that knowledge and that delicious sounding beverage on this episode. So go give it a chance. Luckily, this is recorded, so you can fucking run it back.
Yeah, and also, since usually you guys do like, you would have like Darren, aka Chocolate Bear, have like a little like snippet of him saying the recipe, or you had Patrick, but I'm here, so if anyone's in the comment world and you're like, yo, I'll just type it up for you real quick, and it'll be in the comments forever too. It's easier to read than like go back and try to listen to. So
that is true.
Nice. Fuck yeah. Well, there you have it. That was our bartender minute. And yeah, go ahead.
If you want to put it in the comments, Michelle, I'll put it in the description.
Okay, I'll do that.
So I can just copy paste it.
Gotcha, for sure.
And we'll probably do that with every drink we have now, because why not, right? I mean, it'll maybe get us more clicks or something. But yeah, so Ernie, do you want to talk about your killer in the build, or not really?
I mean, I can. It's gonna be Spirit, chosen by Josh.
Yeah.
Let's see what I was able. I forgot what I was able to accumulate on short notice. Just kidding, it wasn't even short notice. It was just me like, pick a killer. Josh said Spirit, and I was like, oh fuck. But I was able to get fucking Ruin and level 1 Undying, so that's kind of like OP. Sloppy Butcher, so they heal slower if I hit them. And since I don't believe I have do I have barbecue and chili? I do not have barbecue and chili, so I'm just gonna run Discordance so I can see if 2 people are working on a gen. And yeah, that's about it.
All right. So yeah, so he's gonna be playing Spirit here as the killer, because there isn't anything that like went directly with Zodiac. He just played Trapper last week, which I think like has a skin that might be close. I was trying to look, but either way, there wasn't anything like exactly there. Maybe Ghostface, but
Michelle, what? I'm actually really good with Ghostface, so.
Well,
maybe
I mean, there's no reason you can't do it afterwards. But
yeah.
That's it for the build. And sit back and enjoy our first game, which is always our drinking game. And the rules for that are first kill, third kill are a drink, second kill, fourth kill are a shot. Every time he breaks a gen, every time he gets a hook, those are going to be drinks. And I am also going to add this week, and I doubt it'll be a running feature, but this week, anytime someone's downed, no, that's too much. I was gonna do totems, but like it's harder to pay attention to that.
Well, that would have to be Survivor. Running Survivor.
No, but can't you like keep them from doing a totem?
Yeah, I mean,
somehow.
I just have to be lucky that I have Undying so I can see when they're on one, but.
Oh. Well, we'll just keep it there for now, and I'll see how. I was gonna add something else, but.
Why don't you just call out drink whenever you want? I'm just kidding.
If you put it in the comments, if you're listening right now and you want to go to the comments and type drink, everyone's gonna get one during the game. So you get one time where you can tell us to drink whatever you want, and just put it in the comments. Let us know you're here. Say hi, and like, comment, subscribe, share, tell your friends about us. We are working on some really great stuff for the new year. We're working on one of my favorite. It's gonna really be one of my favorite episodes. On Wednesday, we're going to be doing Krampus, and I'm over the moon about doing Krampus. It's one of my favorite Christmas movies. It's up there with just my favorite movies, horror movies in general. I love Krampus. There's not a shot in that movie that isn't well done. And so I'm very, very excited. And then we're going to do all sorts of Christmas stuff. That's going to be Wednesday, I believe it's the 23rd, which is also Festivus. We're going to have Festivus stuff. We're going to have Christmas stuff. We're going to have fucking holly jolly good time here on Death by Daylight. Louise said, oh, Bex is here. She says, wow, Mishy, need that recipe. Michelle is typing the cocktail.
Ignore my thing. I forgot that if you hit enter, it sends it. So I was trying to do like a whole thing. I'm typing it up. I'm almost done.
Don't worry, she's still gonna send it.
Yeah, it's happening.
Are you fucking silly? I'm still gonna send it. Fucking Luis is here. He says, hola, duro. And so here goes the game. Again, generator broken. Drink. Every time you put somebody on a hook, that's a drink. First and third kill is a drink. Second and fourth kill, of course, are our shots. And we are going to... I was talking about the Christmas episode. So that's going to be on Wednesday. Festive stuff, Christmas stuff. Very, very excited. I'm going to come up with games and all sorts of shit. We're going to try to get the whole family on here, so... I imagine Juan will be on. Jesus hopefully will be on, able to make it that day. And then Steve Gibbs maybe, somebody. We'll try to get a big party going on in here, and we'll have games and all sorts of shit. If you're not interested in Krampus, which you should be, still come out and hang with us because it's going to be fun. It's going to get you nice in the Christmas spirit. You're going to be able to hang out with some of your favorite streamers and be safe at the same time and get into the Christmas spirit, which we all need this year. So come hang out. That is Wednesday, the Krampus episode. We are also going to be doing, in the very near future, a charity episode. We are narrowing down right now the charities that we want to donate to. Well, it's going to be one charity, and we have several that we're thinking about. There's an argument of whether people or animals need that money more. And I bet you animals are going to win if I know us. But we're still trying to decide that. Luis says, who's this character? This is the spirit, Luis. Do you want to explain what she does or any, like what her mechanic is or her gimmick?
So you can phase with her, and when you phase walk with her, they can't see you, and you can just appear in someone's face, wapa.
Oh, nice.
Which I kind of did at the beginning when you saw that person on the gen, and I just showed up in their face.
Yeah.
And that person gave up. They already killed themselves too. So, yeah.
You can kill yourself?
They just died on the hook. They just and nobody saved them.
Okay. Damn. Okay. So that's at least a hook and a drink, ladies and gentlemen. 2 drinks for all of you drinking with us at home on this lovely Friday evening. The weather outside is frightful, but the alcohol is so delightful.
I like that.
Thank you. It's delicious. Charity episode. We're trying to decide what we're going to give it to. We're also trying to pick a date because I imagine we want to try to do a New Year's episode, either that New Year's Eve, New Year's Day. I don't know how available anybody's going to be either. We haven't talked about that specifically, but we are talking about trying to find a date for the charity stream, and that's going to be a super relaxed hangout stream. It's going to be a lot more, it's not going to be structured. We're going to be playing different stuff. It's going to be a hangout, so if you want to come hang out, if you want to be on the Christmas episode, depending on how many people we get, let us know. We'll see if we can have you on in the party, talking to us and stuff. And then the charity episode, for sure, we will be having people on with us. Some people you know, some people you don't know. And really advertising the shit out of it, so bear with us. But it is for a good cause, and we would like to get people to donate so that we have something to give to the charity. Again, I imagine it's going to be for animals, but I'm unsure yet. I'm still unsure. And DGG, Darkest Gaming, TDG, I don't know why I read that backwards. The Darkest Gaming says, yo, what's up, man? Welcome to Death by Daylight. Ernie is playing. as the spirit, and we're playing along with him, doing a drinking game. I don't know why I'm doing this like I'm a radio host at Nam, like I'm fucking narrating everything, but yeah, that's it for the charity pod, or for the teaser for the charity pod. That also, again, next Wednesday, be here for Krampus, and tonight, the Zodiac Killer. We're about to get into that motherfucker. There's a lot of fucking information about the Zodiac Killer, so we've got oh shit, that is fucking sick. I don't understand how you control where you're going, though. Like, it warps you, like, right to them? Hello?
Yeah, sorry. I'm just really
That's all
focused.
good. Yeah, anyway.
I just, like, use the power, and it, like, kind of... It puts me into it, so I just kind of, like, have to either walk around. I was kind of faking it just to see if they would bite and, like, jump right into me. It worked one time. That time it didn't work as much, but...
This map is the one, like, when this game was launched, it was just this map, yeah?
I actually don't know that. This is one of the first ones for sure.
Boom, that's a hook. Everybody drink.
Drink.
Oh, it's in the spot. We got one dead. We've got one on a hook. We've got one injured. Oh, there's the injured one. And then someone running around unabashed by the horrors that are happening around them. Yeah, that's pretty fucking sick. The Zodiac. So, a couple things that you guys need to go. Jared! Jared says apparently there's a new killer coming out called The Mother. That's not what Jared says. Sorry, that was TDG, The Darkest Gaming.
Huh.
Says apparently there's a new killer coming out called The Mother. Do you know anything about that, Ernie?
It's not the twins?
I mean, I don't know.
Because, I mean, we just got the twins.
With the baby, right?
Yeah, I mean, not
But, I mean, The Mother sounds fucking awesome. Like, that, just the name sounds fucking horrifying.
Yeah, I wonder what that would be. I wonder what they would do with something like that.
Jared says, hey guy, I'm still at work. Trying to get the fuck out of here. I'm trying to get drunk. Lol. Jared, you son of a bitch. Hopefully you can join us soon, brother. Have some wine. Jared's one of the few people I know that drinks wine. Well, not people, I guess, just people like in my immediate circle. Although Heather and Ale, I guess.
Michelle drinks wine.
Correction.
Well, brandy's a kind of wine, yeah.
Oh, Michelle chugs wine. I'm sorry.
Isn't brandy in the wine family?
Nah, it starts off as a wine. So, whereas like it's the mash build, it is like a grape based. But once you distill it, it definitely doesn't stay in that family because it's changed completely. But it is a grape based distillate.
Well, you learn something new every day. Derry was drinking brandy for a while there, like he was drinking it all the time.
Yeah. It's good. Like there's certain brands, like there's some actually made from apple, some from pear, so it depends. The most common is definitely grape. But some nice apple brandy that's like aged is really good, especially if you're trying to make like holiday cocktails. Like right now, it goes so well with like cinnamon and shit. So, yeah, keep an eye out for that. It's different. If you don't really like the grape, I recommend the apple or the pear brandy.
And so what is sherry then?
Sherry is a Spanish fortified wine. So think like vermouth. But again, like wine, it can come from different places. Sherry specifically comes from, is it like the southeastern part of Spain? Yeah, the Jerez region. And Yeah, so it's like a wine typically around starts like at 18%. There's a lot of different types. You can get like a really sweet one, like think port, like think a little more like a dessert, and they have all the way to like a fino manzanilla, which tastes kind of like straw, hay, sometimes a little like vegetal, really, really dry finish, and it has very, very low sugar, so you can actually drink a whole bottle of it and not be that crazy hungover because of the very minimal sugar in it. So again, it's like any other wine. There's like sweet, dry, this and that, but again, they're all a little more, because of how it's made, a little more, I want to say earthy to describe all of them, and not so like, minus of course the dessert one, and not so sugary. So I definitely recommend the Lustau brand for anyone listening.
You like that, Josh?
Dude, yeah, that was fucking sick. Fucking caught that fool in a juke going through the window. So we've got 2 hooks and a kill here, ladies and gentlemen. If you're paying attention at home,
I have 2 kills.
No, I know, but like
updated.
2 drinks and a shot is what I mean. Yeah.
Gotcha.
So we've got 2 drinks and a shot. I'm gonna take 1 drink before the shot, then a drink after. Not that complicated, but it's an effective system. If you're drinking at home, drink with us. Cheers on the first drink. Delicious. Not nutritious, but delicious. I'm gonna pour myself a shot of Jose Cuervo tequila. I'm been on a little bit of a tequila kick lately. I've been feeling a little
Last person found the hatch, so that's unlucky, but yeah.
Still a 3K?
Yeah, 3K. Not too bad.
Alright. So cheers everybody at home. Here's our shot. We're about to get into the Zodiac killer, so cheers to the Zodiac.
Oh, this is a weird lobby. I'm gonna play Ghostface
man, that was
for
way
Michelle.
harsher than I thought. I like Ghostface too because there are knife killings in this story, so it works out. So if you're here for the Dead by Daylight stuff, Ernie's gonna jump into another killer game where he's gonna run Ghostface. So stick around for that, and while he does that, we're going to be, as is on Death by Daylight, we talk about the subject of the week while you guys watch Ernie kill these motherfuckers and or survive sometimes. So, and we are going to go ahead and get into the Zodiac killer. Oh, there's so much information. So, here's this start of it, and I have this all, it's almost a script. Because there's just so much that I'm going to try to, obviously, why wouldn't I, but I'm going to try to make this as, like, comprehensive as possible. If you find any of this interesting, go check it out for yourself. There's no way that we're going to possibly tell you every snippet of information that is out there during the course of this podcast. Even if it ran, like, 3 hours, we couldn't do it. So go check it out for yourself, but we will do our best to try to give you all the cool stuff. Also, if you're interested in it and you haven't seen the movie, holy fuck, go watch the movie. Jake Gyllenhaal, Robert Downey Jr. What the fuck? Why can't I remember his name? The guy that plays the Hulk.
Mark Ruffalo.
Mark Ruffalo. All of them are really, really good in that movie. And so go check that out. And so this is the beginning, the groundwork for this for me is getting to know the main players in this story. And there's a main player that I'm not going to give you because I want to get to that at another time. So, but the first ones that we have here, the names that you need to know, the first one is Robert Gray Smith. Robert Gray Smith was a cartoonist for the San Francisco Chronicle. And he is, he's the main character in the movie, but also he's the main character in real life. The reason that it's that way in the movie is because he was so crazy involved. He cracked one of the first codes that the Zodiac sent. He cracked it. He did a lot of work that he was not supposed to be doing, because he could have gotten in trouble. He didn't give a fuck. And he's the MVP of this whole thing, even though technically still out there or unknown, at least, the Zodiac Killer. The second guy is a guy named Dave, and I hope that I'm saying this right. It's either Tashi or Toshi. Do you know, Michelle?
I believe it's Toshi.
Dave Toshi, who
sure.
was not only the lead detective on this case, but until he left the homicide department of San Francisco Police, SFPD, he was the only detective. There was a point where basically everybody had given up, and he was the only detective that was still on the case, although he obviously worked multiple cases at the same time, but he never gave up. Both of these guys have one thing, well, they have some stuff in common, but one huge thing in common, and that's that they think that the Zodiac Killer was this, they think the same guy. They both think one guy did it. They have this one guy in mind. There's a lot of people that think that he did it, but it's important because those two guys were closer to the case than anyone else at any given point in time, and they think it was the same guy. And then the other guy that we're going to get, and you're going to need to know him in the movie, but and he's not as prominent in the main story, but that's Paul Avery. And in the movie, if you're like recalling the movie, you don't remember, Jake Gyllenhaal is Robert Graysmith, Mark Ruffalo is Dave Toshi, and Paul Avery is played by Robert Downey Jr. Paul Avery was a writer for the San Francisco Chronicle who starts, there's an ethical debate about whether they should or should not have published these threats and these letters and all this other shit. Paul Avery was at the center of all of that. He was wanting to push the envelope, wanting to challenge this guy and really try to shake him out of the woodwork, and until he was actually named in one of the Zodiac's letters and threatened, and he would eventually lose his job. And then there's there's one more guy that we're going to talk about, but not yet. So those three guys keep in mind, and then I'm going to set the scene for the first kill, and then I'll let Michelle go with what she has, because obviously it's the beginning of the story, and we'll get her side of the beginning of the story. And so it is December 20th, 1968. And there are a couple of lovebirds that are first at a high school function. It's like a Christmas concert or something. They're at a high school function, and then they leave. The problem with this is that the woman is not in high school. She's older, not a ton older, but like 22, 23, and she is married. And she's with she's cradle robbing. She's with a very young man. And so they are originally going to go and get something to eat. They don't. They go to a lover's lane type of place. This is Lake Herman Road within the city limits of Benicia. The city limits are very important here because every county line matters. Because not only do they not want to share information with each other, they each want to catch the Zodiac. So they sometimes they're working together, but then they're not. There's key information that is lost because this man kills in so many counties. He is incredibly smart. That part is undisputed. And so it is largely estimated that the reason he did this is because he knew that it was going to make people fumble on his information and things like that. Michelle, what do you got? What are the holes in my story so far?
No holes, just I'm trying to not to go back and forth between the film and what I've read. So I don't know if you want me to describe, like, as far as like how it's depicted in the film, or just to go by like articles I've read, but I don't know, I think most people who know of the Zodiac Killer know because of the movie, so again, that's kind of the opening scene, right? And
right.
I will say it's kind of funny how you mentioned that she was married and he was in high school, and in the film you see him ask, like, when the killer approaches, like, oh no, is that your husband? And I thought that was funny, but it's also kind of just like randomly thrown in there. But there was something I believe I was reading about the woman, Betty Lou Jensen, who she worked at a diner, and people would actually wait in line to be served by her, that she was very friendly, that I think a coworker would tell her things like, you know, not everyone has to be your friend, like you can be nice and be this and that, but you know, again, you don't have to basically welcome everyone into your life and show that kind of love and friendship to everyone. And this coworker basically said that she feels like that's the reason why she specifically was targeted by the Zodiac, which I don't know. I mean, I personally don't think he picked, and again, we're assuming he, right?
Yeah.
But well, no, we do know by like the people who did live, and again, it's always men who end up surviving his attacks. But they all say him, and that he was kind of tall, stocky, etc. We can get into that later, but yeah, I don't think there were like specific targets. That again, how you mentioned he roamed around from different counties. That was pretty smart, but I don't think he specifically chose like, you know, her because she was friendly or this or that. Thoughts?
Yes, so we're gonna get so not with these two victims, with Betty Lou and David, but we will get personal connections, or what's at least perceived as a personal connection, eventually. How these victims may not have been entirely random, although some of them are definitely going to at least seem that way.
At least in the beginning. As far as like how, when the murder started becoming more public and when the newspaper started receiving the letters and the cryptographs,
Right.
I felt, again, like you mentioned, they were a little bit all over the place. And I think that was really smart because, again, if you go back to the film and reference that, there's scenes where you see different police stations saying, oh, well, we don't have facts yet, so it's going to be, our info that we have is going to be sent through the mail, and it's like, well, shit, like, this guy's going around killing, like, we need something a little bit faster. I kind of like that, like, that kind of, to me, showed his, like, that's smart, that's brilliant, you know, that's maybe a reason why he never really got caught.
Yeah. Well, and I think that I agree with you as far as the reasons for not getting caught. There's a lot of them, and we're gonna go from lucky to good, and everywhere in between, why he wasn't ever discovered or caught or whatever. And there's a level of arrogance. There's a level of arrogance here on his part that is a little bit daunting, because most people that showed that kind of arrogance, Ted Bundy or Charlie Manson, get caught because their head is too big for their own good. So the details of this case, there's a lot, right? So we gotta move forward a little bit. He pulls up behind them and flashes his lights and pretends that he's a cop. The way that he pretends he's a cop is he puts his flashlight and his gun like he's a cop. So he puts his flashlight over his gun, and he's telling him that he's a cop. He's not. And this is the first instance of a boy surviving when the woman dies. And that's because he shot the woman more times. And shot her very deliberately. And the guys, it would seem like more often than not, the reason that these gentlemen survive is because the attacks on them are not as vicious. And what they think about that is that he was just trying to incapacitate the men. He didn't necessarily care if they lived or died, but he didn't want them to impose or play a hero or intervene in what he was doing. Yeah. And so it would seem as though that was a pattern. Anyway, he shoots them, they die. This is the first instance of what will eventually be known as the Zodiac Killer. We don't have any of that fucking information yet. This is just a terrible act of violence, singularly and by itself. Obviously, when a married woman gets killed in the arms of her lover, there's going to be a lot of questions about motive. And so people were distracted by all of this until July 4th, 1969. And I say until, but also no one knew to connect these two cases quite yet. Michael Majow and Darlene Farron are shot in Blue Rock Springs Park in Vallejo County. So Vallejo County, obviously a different county. Again, whether he did that on purpose, we don't know, but it would seem as though just this first decision, of going from one county to another county, starts the wheels on him never being caught, because there is crucial information that is not going to be shared between the Vallejo Police Department and the Benicia Police Department. And that kind of small detail information, especially over the course of years, can absolutely mean the difference between catching a killer and not catching a killer, especially in the late 1960s, when DNA was unreliable, to put it nicely, almost non-existent in a way that we know it to be today. And so much so that there is some DNA evidence here and there, but neither the prosecution nor the defense, which very rarely happens that they agree on something like this, is willing to admit that the DNA means anything. And two more people are dead. He shows up there. This place is, again, I'm fine with framing some of it in the context of the movie, because if you read enough, you find out that the people that did the movie read exactly what you're reading and did everything they could to make it accurate. It's a beautiful place. These people are minding their own businesses by themselves. He comes out of nowhere. He holds them at gunpoint until he gets Darlene to tie up Michael, and then he ties up Darlene. He stabs Michael, but not as many times as he stabbed Darlene. Darlene would die and Michael would live. And the biggest thing here, and I don't want to give it away yet, is that Darlene is the first suspect that we have that is believed to have known the Zodiac killer, or at least he knew her. And when we say that, we mean obviously the prime suspect, which we're not ready to get to yet. So we have two murders, both very similar in that unsuspecting couple, guy gets incapacitated, woman dies, guy is left for dead but doesn't die. And although one of them was a stabbing and the others were shot to death, the similarities are too close to miss. There are some inklings between the two police departments that this could be the same guy, but before they can come to that conclusion by themselves, August 2nd, 1969. This was the one they ran the first cipher, although I think they received it either 1 or 2 days before, because there was a lot of discussion about whether they should run it, but the San Francisco Chronicle decides that they are going to release what's called a cipher. And for all of you rap fans out there, no, not that kind of cipher. It is a block of characters where each character obviously coincides with a different letter of the alphabet, but it's not as simple as 26 characters meaning 26 letters. He writes everything upside down, catty corner, backwards, whatever. He does a lot of stuff to the point where it's taking them 60 years to come up on some of these translations, if you will, and we will get into that as well. And the first letter is oh shit, I don't have the Do you have the translation there?
That begins with "I like killing people."
I think so.
Yeah, because
all I
it's
have
the
is
one
the
where it mentions
date.
the most dangerous animal, right? So I do have it. I have it here. Would you
Okay.
like me to read it?
Yes, please.
Okay, so I like killing people because it is so much fun. It is more fun than killing wild game in the forest, because man is the most dangerous animal of all to kill. Something gives me the most thrilling experience. It is even better than getting your rocks off with a girl. Best part of it is that when I die, I will be reborn in paradise, and I have killed will become my slaves. I will not give you my name, because you will try to slow down or atop my collecting of slaves for my afterlife. And the rest is just random letters, like EBEO, whatever, and yeah, the final 18 letters, they've actually haven't been determined or deciphered.
Yeah, so that's actually, I didn't want to interrupt you, but that's the second letter.
That fucked my life.
The first one, but it's fine. It's totally fine. The first one says, "Dear editor, I am the killer of 2 teenagers last Christmas at Lake Herman." The letter, and then it contained details from the killer murders that only the killer could have known, which they did not publish, because obviously you don't want to put all those details out there and then you immediately destroy anything that would have narrowed down that suspect. You want only the people that know the details to continue to know the details. You don't want that to be public information if you are on the police side of this. And so we have these two murders connected now. This is big because this is the start of the whole of Northern California being on notice that something fucked up is happening. And it gives the Zodiac not only notoriety, but confidence and arrogance. And he really does, as much as we hate to admit that these kinds of people get a hold on other people, he has a fucking stranglehold on Northern California because of the things that he says in his letters. Although, like most fucked up idiots, a lot of those promises and threats go unfulfilled. And you can't say, like, well, how do you know they went unfulfilled? Like, maybe it happened, you don't know. No, he said he was gonna kill whole busloads of kids and shit. If you go and just look at what happened in Northern California at that time, nothing even remotely close to something like that happened. And that is August 2nd, 1969. Moving on, we get to September 27th, 1969, and we have another Moida. This time at Lake Berryessa. And again, we have, so the third time in a row, and this time they knew exactly who it was. Cecilia Shepard is killed. Brian Hartnell is not. They are both stabbed. Cecilia stabbed more times and more viciously than Hartnell, but Hartnell also survives like the other gentleman did. You're also going to notice a pattern here, which they bring up in the movie, but I learned that they brought it up in the movie because I learned that it was a line in the movie because I was just learning it separately. There was a huge connection theory, big part when they were only focused on the bodies of water. They were trying to find his pattern and who his next victim was going to be by focusing solely on the bodies of water and thinking that there may be some kind of pattern there. Why was he only killing near bodies of water? And it is remains a mystery because that theory never came to fruition. All of this is in the same year. There is a larger timeline here, and there's one more killing in 1969, one more letter, and some more stuff that happens in 1969, and we're going to get through those things at warp speed, and once 1969 is over, we'll check back in with Ernie, we'll have ourselves a drink, we will look at the comments, and then we will get back into what we're doing with this stuff. So, very briefly, go ahead.
I played Ghostface, I got a 4K.
Nice.
Nice.
Welcome. I'll owe you shots here. Actually, we'll take one right now, and then we'll get into the end of the year. If you're enjoying this so far, let us know if you have any questions about anything that we've just said. Make sure you put them in the comments. And again, just say hi. Let us know what you're drinking. Let us know how you're doing. Yeah. So here's a shot for the first 2 of the 4Ks here. Hope you guys have been enjoying watching, and I think Ernie's going to play Survivor now, or at least that's what it looks like.
Yeah.
That's your Christmas drip.
Yeah, the little dweet with the Christmas outfit.
I
Little
like that
drip.
he's biting his nails. He's just so nervous.
Yeah.
I can relate, dude. I like his slippers too. That's awesome.
The whole outfit is great. I'm gonna go with those fucking warm ups, dude. Those are fucking
Yeah.
sweet warm ups.
So
Yeah.
the way that the outfit should really be, let me show you guys. Hold on. So it's like almost the full thing, but he's supposed to be a Dwight in a box.
Oh.
So he's supposed to look like this. Look,
Oh,
yeah. But he has another one where he's an elf, so I just kind of added the.
I liked yours better than that one.
I'll show you
Yeah.
the elf, and then just kind of how I had it set up.
Yeah, your combination of those two outfits is the best.
Yeah.
Cheers. Here is to. Oh fuck! I wish I had something. Cheers to Robert Graysmith. Cheers, buddy.
Cheers.
Oh, there's a flavor. Oh. All right.
I have a question as far as just everything. As far as you're getting like the timeline, where were you looking up a specific source? Because I felt like the more articles I read, and this is the one that I try to stay away from Reddit because that was just a lot of conspiracy theories being thrown everywhere.
A shitload, yeah.
Yeah, like crazy amount. But I wanted to have like a timeline, kind of how you have to like stick to it. And I had my first two, couple of victims rather, switched. And I went as you were speaking right now, and I'm like on the History Channel, like .com, and I think I was like something in the New York Times, and they both said like something different. Why is that? Like, is it because we don't know? Because I know, like, if we're talking about like Paul Avery, right, the journalist who kind of got a little maybe too involved and found like the true like first murders. And sorry, spoilers. Maybe we'll get that. We'll get there later. But I feel like maybe that's messing with certain timelines that I'm reading about. And maybe I just want to know more so what you've been reading so I can stick to yours.
I have the timeline from the San Francisco Chronicle.
Okay, gotcha. And that would be the smartest, Michelle, duh.
Well, I mean, I don't know. They could be biased. I just... This is what I have. I literally, in my notes, have it straight from the timeline from the San Francisco Chronicle. I imagine that you're right about why there's discrepancies. Also, there is alleged stuff, right? There's stuff that they think that he did, but they're not sure that he did, and that could be
to do, right?
Right, and so that might be messing with it also. But yeah, that's, if you want to follow along, that's the one that I'm doing, and maybe
I'm gonna stick to Wikipedia.
Oh, for sure.
Real quick, we got a Marcus in the chat saying hello. So hello, Marcus.
Marcus, what's up, man?
Hello.
Sorry. Continue.
No, that's exactly what we need. So October 11th, 1969. This is the cab driver incident, and they do a really great job. So I don't have a problem going to the movie again because I felt like they did an amazing job, and not just with the movie, but with keeping it accurate historically and otherwise. They do a great job specifically in this part of the movie with getting, it's like there's people like calling into a radio show, and the first guy is like, what the fuck do I care? Or, well, he's making fun of country people, so he's like, what the fuck do I care if these country hillbillies are dying, like, out in the boonies. Like, I live in the city. I don't want there to be a fucking curfew. Sound familiar, people of Earth? I don't want there to be a curfew because it's not affecting me directly, and I don't give a fuck about all these people out in the boonies. Then, someone dies in the city. Paul Stein is shot to death in Presidio Heights in San Francisco. So, again, nothing had happened inside San Francisco proper. And that changes things. And it makes a big splash. Once people in the city feel unsafe, all sorts of people are trying to fucking have a dick measuring contest and be the first ones to bring the Zodiac in. And we continue, and actually this is the huge start, right? Because Vallejo and god damn it, I can never remember the one with the B. Benicia. So Benicia County and Vallejo County are getting along up to this point. San Francisco comes in, the SFPD comes in with their giant dick swinging, and they don't want to share news with anybody. They want they basically come in like the feds. They're like, look, Vallejo and Benicia, you motherfuckers, like, we actually know what we're doing. We have an actual fucking murder unit, a homicide unit, and you guys deal with, like, cats stuck in the tree all the time. So we don't want to fucking deal with your shit. Like, just give us all the fucking information that you have, and we'll find this motherfucker. And Vallejo and Benicia are like, you can go fuck yourselves. Like, he clearly did this as a strategic move to like, not necessarily specifically throw everybody off, but he wanted to make a statement and say, like, I'm gonna kill where the fuck I want to kill, and nobody is safe. I'm not just killing kids in the country. I'm killing people in the city. This is my fucking town. And we get a lot of people withholding information. We get a lot of distrust between law enforcement agencies and officers. And we get the San Francisco Chronicle heavily involved at this point, which is where Paul Avery comes in. Not that he hadn't been a player before, but this is where he really gets stuck in some mud that he may and probably wanted to avoid. The biggest thing being that he was challenging the Zodiac. So anytime that anybody ever asked him about it, he was like, look, this guy's a fucking coward. And if he wasn't, he'd make it easier for people to catch him, basically. The Zodiac then, in turn, eventually will name Paul Avery in one of his letters, saying that he's going to kill him, leading to the infamous buttons that all of the journalists were wearing that read, I am not Paul Avery, which Paul Avery is infamously photographed wearing himself. All of these things, again, happening in 1969 after the murder of the cab driver. We get October 15th, 1969. We get another letter. The Chronicle runs a letter from the Zodiac claiming credit for Stein's killing. And this is the first time that we get the crowning of the phrase Zodiac. He calls himself the Zodiac. As we learned from BTK, killers giving themselves nicknames is really fucking lame, but he didn't. He refers to himself as the Zodiac Killer. Eventually, October 22nd, 1969, all of this happening in the month of October, he calls the Oakland Police Department, saying that he wants to talk to Melvin Belly on the air on TV. You can go watch it. You can at least listen. I think you can watch, but if nothing else, you can listen to this happening. There is audio that you can find on YouTube of him talking to Melvin Belly. So, and this is a point in time where, like, yeah, you have, like, nationwide talk show hosts and nationwide all sorts of stuff, but Melvin Belly was huge in San Francisco. That cannot be understated. or overstated rather. He was, everybody in San Francisco was watching Melvin Belli even before any of this other stuff, and the fact that he had Zodiac meant that everybody in San Francisco literally was going to be watching this program. I don't think they show this in the movie, but he agrees to meet, Melvin agrees to meet the Zodiac in a coffee shop, and obviously he doesn't fucking show up because Melvin Belli's an idiot. November 12th, 1969, the Chronicle publishes a new cryptograph. This is the one that Michelle read earlier. I enjoy killing. You guys are never going to catch me. It's too easy. You guys aren't smart enough to catch me. It's important to know that these ciphers were incredibly complex, but they also did little things to throw people off, using double letters where they shouldn't be, so that people were like, there's no two S's in Christmas, or at the end of Christmas, like, it can't be that word. And then it turns out that it is. He just misspelled stuff on purpose. Belli would eventually, this is the last event of December 27th, and then I'm going to take a small breather here. Marvin Belli would receive a letter from the Zodiac on December 27th that would say, "Please help me, I am drowning," with a little kid would say it with a D in front of the ing. The letter includes a piece of blood-soaked cloth identified as belonging to Stein. These bloody clothes would not stop, and he would send a card to Paul Avery that also included a bloody piece of Stein's shirt. I believe there were 4 pieces of the shirt that were sent to different people in different at different times. That is the end of the 1969 stuff. The other stuff, the rest of the stuff that happens, a lot of it is alleged, right? So it's stuff that happened that he's claiming, but it wouldn't be difficult on some of the stuff. It would not be difficult to read a detailed report of what happened and then insert yourself into that situation and say, I did this thing. Some of them, there's details that he knows that are a little scary, but again, it's not proven that he did these things, and there's different discrepancies as to why. They range in severity. There's some that they're like, okay, maybe he might have done this, and then there's others that are like, he definitely did this. I just can't say out loud that he didn't. That he did this other thing. So we will pick back up at January 25. You on point, Tip? All the time, Fife. January 25th, 1970. We will pick up here in a second. We will earn you another shot before we have to take a survivor shot here. Again, very information-packed episode. There's not as much like back and forth with people and all that stuff, and if this isn't your thing, I apologize, but there really wasn't any other way to do this. Like, first of all, if Juan and Jesus were here, and it was like, I mean, we would have been here until 1:30 in the morning, and so do I want them here? Of course I do, but it was always going to be difficult to get all this information in. So hopefully we can get to the end of this. It gets easier. It gets easier after, because events are more spread out and some of them are less significant. So hopefully we even though it's only been the year that we've gone through, I imagine that we're about halfway done with chronicling his story. So cheers to that. Thank you everybody that's listening so far. Bex, Jared, TGG, The Darkest Gaming, Marcus, thank you for tuning in. Luis, Megan, and the wee baby Violet, thank you for tuning in. That's all I've got in the comments. So, I'm gonna let you pick up, Michelle, here in a little bit where I left off, and let you put your.
Have you guys gotten to the part where it turns out that he's Ted Cruz?
Damn, that was
fucking one. Yeah.
That was my next thing. I was gonna fast forward to.
Fucking one showing up like Bobby Boucher at the Bourbon Bowl.
A little late, but
hey,
yeah.
All good. How's it going,
This
man?
killer really is fucking complicated, by the way.
Yeah,
these guys suck.
Good. I actually got to listen to a good chunk of it. So,
These guys
goddamn, that's a lot of shit to cover, dude.
These survivors fucking suck. We were about to be done with the gen. I would have had my adrenaline and been out of there, but they fucking blew it, like right at the last second. Twice.
They missed the skill check.
Yep.
Oh boy.
Now I got hooked when I didn't need to. And this bitch isn't gonna come for me. Okay, shit. No. I think he's gonna face cap me because I was fucking with him the whole game. Oh man. Fucking unlucky.
He's just gonna sit right by the hook because he wants you to die.
Pretty much. And these fucking survivors are dog shit.
Do you get to see their rank, like, after the game?
Yeah. This bitch is gonna go down, watch.
Yeah, she is.
He's teabagging me after I dicked him down the whole time. He hears her. Fucking idiot.
Oh my god, she got took. Well, you're just in time for a shot one if you're having liquor.
I currently don't have any, but I will go ahead and take a drink. Well, more than a drink, so I'm drinking Trulies right now. So.
What movie did you guys watch?
We actually were watching Christmas movies. We were watching like the OG Grinch movie, like the cartoon one from 1960 or whatever.
Yeah.
And then we watched the Jim Carrey one, and we actually watched Forrest Gump as well.
You watched Forrest Gump?
Dude, Forrest Gump is fucking great.
I mean, I like Forrest Gump. It's just not necessarily a Christmas movie.
Oh, it's not a Christmas movie. It was. I was actually watching Forrest Gump, and then Jonathan was like, "Hey, I want to watch The Grinch." I was like, "All right." So we watched like the original, and then the Jim Carrey, and then he started watching the newest one. But at that point, that's when he finally started like falling asleep. So that was basically my cue to like, all right, cool, I can go play with my friends now.
Yeah, so Michelle, let's take a shot, and then Michelle is going to pick up where I left off.
Yes, and I'm sorry for cutting you off there, Michelle.
Early January 1970. So cheers, everybody.
Cheers.
Here's to someone fucking beating Ted Cruz at some point.
Literally, just kidding.
Oh, it's so good. It's going down smoother. The drunk is having a nice effect on the liquor. Michelle, take us away. Take us away.
You stopped in 1970, correct?
Yeah, we're at the date I have is January 1970.
Okay. So, real quick, I wanted to mention that I had an extra murder in between the two that you talked about. The one that was at the lake. But I had different names for that. I believe you said... So, again, I'm still gonna... I'm trying to fix my notes to fit with yours. So again, I don't know if it was I was reading the wrong thing or putting things together by different sources. But I did have a quick question. Do you know, of the ones that we just went over, which one had that inscription that was left on one of the victims' car door?
That is
Or more so, if that wasn't the first
Majo
time. Continue.
and Farron. Majo and Farron is what I have for the car thing.
So I have the names Brian Hartnell and Cecilia Shepard. So that's why I was very confused just now, but I didn't want to interrupt. Anyway, that being said, that wasn't the first time that we saw his like little symbol, correct?
No,
like,
you're right. You're right. It is Hartnell and Shepard that had they were the third confirmed victims, and they had because the two of the alleged ones happened first one happened in 1963 on a beach, and the other one happened in 1966 at Riverside City College. But those are two of the alleged ones. But the third confirmed kill was the one where they put the symbol, and if it was September 27th, 1969, let me check my other notes. I was going to say cross-reference, but I feel like that's entirely too fancy for what I'm doing.
September 27, 1969. That's what I have.
Yeah, I'm just checking to see if that's the first time that we get the Zodiac symbol.
Okay. So I'm pretty sure it was in a letter that was sent to
No, it is not. Yeah, so you're right. Yeah. So it is not the first time we get the symbol.
Got it.
We got it they got it in a letter first.
Alright, so yeah, I felt that was I just wanted to mention that he did go and it left this like ominous message on one of his victims' vehicle doors, which was Hartnell. Actually, I believe he survived. It was another case of it was a couple. She died because he was a little more vicious with her, and he was just injured really badly. But yeah, on the door again, this was back in September 27th of 1969. He just said Vallejo. He had 2 dates. Then it said September, the date, and it said by knife, and then with the symbol on top of everything. But anyway, I thought that was creepy, but it kind of goes along with his MO with the whole sending of the letters. But that was just a little extra, just a bit much.
Yeah.
But moving on. Oh my goodness. Michelle. Sorry, I just scrolled up and down. Give me a second. Okay, are we talking about Miss Kathleen Johns now?
My notes say... I
have Kathleen Johns, March 22nd, 1970.
Kathleen Johns... Yes. Okay. That's what I have too.
So, again, this was another one that was depicted in the film. So if you want to reference back to that, but I am going to talk about it. She was actually 7 months pregnant, and she had a 10-month-old with her. And she was driving from San Bernardino to, I have it, Petaluma. While she was driving, a car behind her started honking, flashing her lights, so she pulled over. And there was a man that came out, parked behind her, approached her, said her wheel was wobbling, offered to help, left, and immediately afterwards, her car actually got worse, so she climbed into his car with her daughter, and again, she was pregnant. Anywho, they drove for about 90 minutes. He threatened to kill her daughter, and I'm going to pause right there. Johns actually gave multiple statements, and multiple statements that were actually disputed. So in one account, she said that when she jumped out of the vehicle, she hid because he got out of his car and started looking for her and her daughter with a flashlight. And another account, she said that the vehicle did stop, but then it just continued. So I'm a little iffy as to which one and why. I mean, I can't imagine being abducted with like her child and being pregnant. You know, that's terrifying. She had to jump out of a car, right? So of course, maybe things were a little wild. Maybe she did see him. Maybe, you know, there's just so many things. But it's just weird to me. And Paul Avery also comes into this, and uh, he did write about it and said that the abductor did actually leave the car and look for her with the flashlight. But then again, it goes back to where she was like, no, that actually didn't happen. So it's just weird how the accounts kind of play out after that happened. But she was able to give a composite sketch of, or rather, give her statement, and then she noticed the composite sketch of Paul Steen's killer and then recognized him as the person who abducted her and her kid. So that was that.
So
And
well,
yes.
I'm trying to put my thoughts together. This is all, they don't credit him for any of this, right? Because of her statements were a little bit conflicting, and I think that you're right about, like, yeah, how could, we possibly understand what it means, like, or what it means to be in that situation. But there's also witnesses that found her, right? So it would have had to be pretty fucked up, if she were, like, making it up or whatever.
Well, not so much making up, but like as far as like her jumping out of the car and whether or not he stopped and actually tried to look for her again. I feel like at that point that would have been a little too. It wouldn't have been his. It would have been tricky. It would have been hard for him to go and find. Like, it would have been too much time. People would have seen two vehicles parked on the side, even though they drove for quite a while. But what you do get, though, is that they did find her car after the fact, and it had been gutted and torched. So clearly,
Jesus.
I think someone, maybe him, didn't want that to be found, right?
Right, yeah, of
So I'm not
course.
saying so much that like she made it up, but I think this is one of those accounts that I wanted to talk about Paul Avery and how egotistical he was and how he really wanted to like be the face of like these breaking news articles, right? Because he was like the main crime journalist for the SF Chronicle, and he did intervene. And this is the one thing that I did read was that in his article he wrote that the abductor left the car and searched for her in the side of the road with the flashlight. And I think that's one of the first times she actually went back and she was like, no, he never left the vehicle. So I feel like this is one of those times that, like, I personally believe that he could have done this, maybe, and maybe, or rather, it could go both ways. Maybe at this point, the Zodiac killer was just so pissed off at Paul Avery. It was like, how dare you say that it was me? So it's just, I think we'll just leave it up to what you think, and we'll all follow you.
Well, so I think that, Paul Avery, for me, makes things, like you said, like his ego, him wanting to be the center of everything that's going on, makes this worse for everybody, which is a concept that he seems to have a hard time understanding. He just can't get it across his mind that, that he could possibly be affecting other lives outside of himself.
Yeah, he's hurting more than he's helping. But for him, it's about, like, the fame. And, again, I don't feel like it was even after, like, there's that picture that you mentioned of him with the button saying, like, I am not Avery. And it's like, all right, dude, like, do you want the fame and the glory, quote unquote, or do you want to be a little bitch about it? Like, helping or hurting, helping or hurting.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that my biggest problem with Paul Avery, is that his lack of follow through. So what we see is, like, obviously, like, all of the talk, he walks the walk to a certain extent until his life is threatened. Which, again, I'm not gonna fucking rag on this man, for being afraid for his life from a serial killer. But then, if that's the case, shut the fuck up and let these people do their investigation, and try to catch this fucking monster. And so we get a lot of bullshit from Paul Avery. We get a lot of he gets fired. I mean, there's no other way to put it. He puts himself in a really bad position, but he fucking pays for it, and it eventually is not in an enviable position by any means. And everyone in San Francisco ends up kind of hating Paul Avery because the Chronicle really threw him under the bus. And next on my timeline here, after this poor woman throws herself out of a car, is that we have another letter. And this one reads, hold on, looking. This one reads, this is Zodiac speaking. By the way, have you cracked the last cipher I sent you? My name is blank. And then it goes on to say, I am mildly curious as to how much money you have on my head now. I hope you do not think that I was the one that wiped out that blue meanie with the bomb at the cop station. Zodiac, so blue meanie means cop. And there was a cop. So blue meanie is how Charles Manson referred to police.
No shit.
Yeah. So I mean, I don't know if he fucking did it on purpose or if it was a common term back then. I have no idea, but a little fun fact there.
That's also a reference to the Beatles, the Yellow Submarine film. That came around the same time as well. But the Blue Meanings are the antagonists of the film. They're trying to like turn everyone to stone and make everyone just like lifeless. And the Beatles come and save the day by playing music, and they all come back to life.
This is Yellow Submarine film.
Yeah, the animated film, the Beatles as like the main cast.
Well, you fucking learn something new every day.
I didn't even know there was a film for that song.
I had no fucking idea.
Yeah, and the whole film starts with the Blue Meanies basically shooting out these bombs-like things. And again, it's all anime, it's all cartoon, and very kid-friendly, so take the kids to watch it. It's fucking awesome, everyone should see it. But they throw out these, like, kind of bomb-like things, and you see people, like, in a yard, just, like, dancing and playing, and this thing hits them, and all the color is, like, soaked out of them, and they turn into stone. So then the whole premise is one person survives, finds the Beatles, brings them back, and they basically just play music, and everyone comes back to life.
That's amazing.
But yeah, they're the bad guys. They're Blue Meanies.
Well, there you have it. No, I legitimately had no fucking idea that was even a thing. So we have the Blue Meanie claim from the Zodiac. That letter, again, may be mild compared to other letters, but you have to understand at this point, everyone's fucking paying attention to him, so anything he says is going to be seen as scary. October 27th, 1970, this is when the letter where he told Paul Avery that Paul Avery was doomed. November 16th, the Chronicle runs a story pointing out the similarities between so this is where the 1966 murder of Sherry Jo Bates comes in. This is still not credited to the Zodiac. There's apparently not enough evidence to even say that he's a suspect in this, but the similarities between the two killings are not only frequent but daunting. And so not a ton of time to go into detail with that, but just take my word for it. He probably did this one too, which would then, in a timeline, make this his earliest killing as opposed to the earliest killing that he's credited for. March 16th, we are into the next year. They don't hear from him for 6 months. Then we get into March 16th, 1971. The Chronicle reports that the Los Angeles Times has received a letter from the Zodiac. It has been 5 months. And at this point, he is claiming 17 victims. Again, he's only credited... he's credited with significantly less than that. What it says is, This is Zodiac speaking. Like I have always said, uh, I don't know what that says.
I think it's cracked.
On cracked proof.
Yeah.
If the blue meanies are... Jesus.
Ever going to catch me?
Nice. If the blue meanies are ever going to catch me, they have to get off the... And then there's something scratched out and do something. Because the longer they... The longer they fiddle... No, that's perfect. The longer they fiddle, what's the next one?
The longer they fiddle, and that one is the one. Fuck around is
and
kind of what it is.
Okay. And fuck around, the more slaves
I will collect for my
afterlife. So this is the one that you read earlier.
This one's actually different, but he mentions.
Oh, but he's just talking about the slaves. Okay.
Yeah, and the slaves, that's mentioned multiple times.
I do have to give them credit for stumbling across my Riverside activity, but they are only finding the easy ones. There are a hell of a lot more out there. And the end is the reason that I'm writing to the Times is they don't buy me on the back page, put me on the back pages like some of the others, and then he signs it with all sorts of weird symbols.
So it's the San Francisco Police Department 0, the Zodiac 17.
Oh,
so it's basically he's keeping score.
All pretty fucked up. And then we get to a point where... So I have this point, but the March 26, 1971, I literally have in my notes, not super important. Because they... Again, this is an alleged Zodiac victim. It's a singular girl, which is not something he hasn't entirely done before, but it's not something that he does often. And then December 1971, I think this is funny, and again it goes into the movie because Dirty Harry is made based a lot on the Zodiac killings, but the funny part for me, or the cool part rather, it's not funny but it's cool, is that in the movie, Mark Ruffalo and Jake Gyllenhaal are discussing the case as they chow down on some delicious diner food. And Jake Gyllenhaal suggests that they take things to the next level, and the response there from Mark Ruffalo is, "Easy there, Dirty Harry." Yeah. Which I thought was just fucking sweet. I thought that was fucking
cleverly written.
Yeah, I thought that was really, really well done. And we owe Ernie... Are we caught up on shots?
12,000 shots.
Yeah, you're caught up.
Oh, nice. So we don't know Ernie shit. So we're gonna take a break here because we're near the end of the timeline, as far as I am concerned, and we're getting into a point where we can take a little bit.
Vague after this. And
Things are vague, and I want to get into some very specific stuff outside of the timeline. Like, the timeline has been laid out, and now I want to go back and nitpick a little bit, and it's almost 12 o'clock. So, if you're still listening, God bless you. We're going to get into the meat of what we've been going through and try to really dissect some of the things that happened within this whole thing. And so, first a shot. I'm just going to do a random shot. If Ernie survives, then we won't owe him a shot, because we're going to preemptively take a shot. And then we're just going to take a little breather here. We're going to talk about whatever the fuck else, except for the Zodiac. And you might be saying to yourself at home, why does he get so exhausted? Talking about these things. And it's because I've been doing the research. I've been talking about it a lot more than right now. In my head, it's been a lot. So we're going to just take a little break here so I can find my taste for all this stuff again, and then we'll keep going here.
No, I feel you, and I could have helped more, but once you started talking with your timeline, I'm like, oh my gosh, I read the wrong thing, and I don't want to Like, I didn't want to mess it up. So I was like, okay, we'll just
You're
stitch
killing
it
it.
along as we go.
Don't worry.
Yeah, I think we're both doing a damn fine job. Like I said, there's a lot of information here, and
It is so much, yeah. I think I was actually a little intimidated once I got into specifically Reddit, because I feel like just that could be a whole entire episode of its own, just talking about the Zodiac killer's like conspiracy theories and everything that Redditors have to say about that. Like, holy shit, dude, that'd be like a 3-hour episode just on its own. But that was really intimidating. I was like, I'm just gonna stay away from that for now.
yeah, fuck yeah, no, I totally feel you on that.
Yeah.
I still think the dumbest theory is the whole Ted Cruz thing. It's so fucking hilarious.
So yeah, talking about conspiracy theory.
We're gonna get into the Ted Cruz. I mean, if we want to do it now, yes, absolutely, let's go.
I mean, we'll do it for the end. There'll be the cherry. That's.
Dude,
I don't know.
The
some of
sherry.
the Ted Cruz stuff is fucking amazing. Like that people have like. I get that it started out as a joke, but then people, I mean, the evidence that, and obviously, I mean, don't be dumb, but like if you look past that, dude, there's some pretty fucking great stuff on there.
Yeah.
And so we'll get to that here
There's
in
some
a
gifs
second.
that are hilarious. I think he's like in an interview, and they ask him his favorite cereal, so he's like, "Serial killer or cereal?" And then it's that whole that is it the gif or the video of like the badass where the pixelated like glasses fall into his
Oh
face,
my
or like the
god.
8-bit glasses? So it's like he says that like serial killer or cereal, and he looks straight onto the camera, and then you just see like the glasses fall down, and it pauses there. It's so funny.
Oh, that's so good, dude. Juan, what do you think about the Zodiac Killer so far?
He went to go pee.
Oh,
That's what he thinks
Ernie.
about him.
Yeah.
no, I know, like, going into all of this, like, everybody has, like, there's no way you don't know about him, and I don't mind, again, I don't mind bringing up the movie, but it's so fucking well done, and that part, like, the cinematography is great, all the film stuff, like, the film critic in me is very, very satisfied by all of this stuff, but, the fucking story that is told, the accuracy of the story that is told is just really, really great. And it's very intriguing. It sucks you into the story, and like I've said before, like I mean, I can't. I'm not a thriller guy. Like I don't like get into thrillers the way some other people do. But holy fuck, is this a good thriller? Like really on the edge of your seat, and just a lot of really great acting. So check that out if you feel so inclined. Juan,
Hello, sir.
what do you think about the Zodiac up to this point?
You know what? I will admit, like, he's interesting and he's like, holy shit, he's never been caught, of course. But he is probably one of my least favorite killers.
No, I get that.
Just because, I don't know, and it's not that oh, he doesn't grab my, no, yeah, it's exactly that, no, I guess it's just that, like, it just never really made me get like, oh shit, like, this dude is interesting, I want to look him up, you know what I mean? Because you got other guys that are just like, they do these crazy things that you're just like, oh, I want to know more about that. Or with this dude, it just wasn't like that for me. Like, I was just like, oh, okay, like, what's so special about him? You know what I mean?
I get what you're saying. I feel
Like, I don't know if I'm wording that right, but I'm just...
No, like, as far as, like, how he did his killings, like, it's very, like, okay, anyone could have, like, stabbed anyone could have shot someone, right? Like, it's nothing too, like, crazy out there, not, like, he wasn't, like, eating these bodies or, you know, shit like that. So it's not as enticing, I guess. To me, as a writer, I do like the fact that he was just, like, so fucking like full of himself that he's like, I'm gonna write these letters, like more so. They're not just letters, you know, they're gonna be like these ciphers. And if they get it, they get it. If not, like there's just this extra added element of like just general like ominous like around him. And that I do, as far as like serial killers go, I like, but also as far as the methods that he went on to, you know, very, I don't want to say like simple, but yeah, simple like stabbings and shootings, right? That to me is almost a little bit scarier in a sense, because yeah, you can just be driving in your car with your daughter and be pregnant all of a sudden, like, again, you can get like whatever, but that can happen anywhere. Does that make sense? Whereas like other killers, other serial killers, more like special circumstances. That sounds really weird saying it like out loud, but is that kind of what you meant?
Yeah.
As far as like he's not that enticing because of how kind of
yeah,
was,
no,
like,
and it's basically because, I mean, I'm pretty sure to a lot of people he's like our version of Jack the Ripper, almost.
Yeah, I see what you mean.
But like Jack the Ripper, I mean, the way he did things and all that, you know, then we get this other guy who does something similar, but then his way of doing it isn't quite as like, I don't know about you guys, but I know like when I was like in high school, I used to look up these people, and like I would go to like library.com, and I would look up all this shit, and the stories that got my attention were the more gruesome ones. I know that's a little fucked up to say, but
no, I think
that's kind of how.
If you're obsessed with these kinds of things, you have some kind of flair, at least for the morbid, and as far as like the flashiness of his killings, no, it's really not there compared to someone like Ed Gein or BTK or Ed Kemper. Like, no, it's not on that level. But I think Michelle has a great point, because it's the same point as mine, which is that the other stuff is scary. The fucking the ciphers, the codes, the fucking stalking, the threats. All of that. So to me, this equates more to like Son of Sam, where all of New York was being terrorized by the Son of Sam. All of Northern California is being terrorized by Zodiac, and we've got a lot to go and a little time to get there. So we're gonna go ahead and finish the Chronicles timeline, and then get into more detail about some stuff that I have here, including Ted Cruz. The end of the timeline goes as such. Is that? Yeah, okay. April 26, 1978. They get the first letter in 4 years. Pay attention to that. Pay attention to the 4-year thing, because it's very important. And the Zodiac letter says that the police can't catch him, whatever. Everyone's like, okay, guy, get the fuck out of here. 1986, Robert Graysmith comes out with Zodiac, a book that is a chronicling of his research and what he knows. May 14th, 1996. San Francisco police detectives announced that they are looking into the possible possibility that the Unabomber suspect, Ted Kaczynski, is also the Zodiac killer. Obviously, he's not. Working with DNA evidence. Basically, that's the end of the time. Then you get, like, these guys die, and a bunch of information dies with them. There's a point in the timeline where everybody just throws the towel in and says, fuck it, I'm done. But those things, for our purposes, are not super important. So you have now the timeline of the Zodiac when he was active, and now I'm going to introduce our fourth major player here that I have been teasing throughout the episode, and his name is Arthur Lee Allen. Arthur Lee Allen is the main suspect in the Zodiac killings. He is the only suspect, according to... I think that this is awesome. I think that this one thing, for me, I don't know why it puts it away. I don't know why it matters, but this one thing I think is really big. and that there are we talked about multiple counties, we talked about multiple police departments. There are counties where David Lee Allen or Arthur Lee Allen is considered the only suspect in the Zodiac murders. Some of them have him as a lead suspect, but some counties have him as the only suspect in those murders. He died of cardiac arrest at a very critical part of the investigation later. They had just started to figure out that he was in jail. Those 4 years that they didn't hear from him, just so happens that Arthur Lee was in jail. They find out that the neighbor that had given that was his alibi just happened to mysteriously die a week after he was arrested and then released. All sorts of fucked up shit, man. That really the evidence pointing to Arthur Lee Allen being the Zodiac killer is overwhelming. We get into Darlene here. Darlene, when we said that there was evidence that there may have been something that we knew that the Zodiac knew one of his victims. Zodiac, Arthur lived 50 yards from the front door of where Darlene worked at a diner. And in the movie they do a really good job of that too. There's Vallejo's a small town, but it's not that small. And then the whole 50 yards thing comes up, and it's largely thought that he absolutely knew Darlene before any of this shit happened, and that it was more personal than originally had thought, where everybody just assumed that these things were completely random. And so the evidence is overwhelming. He's ambidextrous. He can write with both. Well, he's not ambidextrous, but he can write with both hands. So the handwriting stuff isn't always going to match up. There's a lot of evidence between the police departments that wasn't shared. I'm not going to get into all of it right now, but what I am going to tell you is that he's the suspect. I think he did it, and there are a lot of people online in chat rooms that think he did it. There's a shitload that think he didn't do it as well, because they think they've cracked some kind of code. But if you're going with the Occam's razor theory in this, Arthur Lee Allen is the Zodiac killer, and they were just never able to prove it, and then he died before they could get into that part of the investigation. And so that kind of brings a conclusion to this part of it. We're still going to get into Ted Cruz and maybe some other conspiracy stuff and details inside of the investigation. If you have any questions or comments, I know I've been talking a lot. I know that this is a super informative heavy episode, but we feel like these episodes are good as well. There's just a nice balance. So let us know what you think. If you have any questions in the comments, we will do our best to answer them and to interact more. And then my whole monologue part of this thing is over. Everything that's going to be said going forward is going to be a discussion, as opposed to me just spitting off information. But there's the information. I gave as much as I possibly could, given what I was given in time and resources and everything else. And so again, I encourage you to go check it out, and I encourage you to watch the movie. I don't feel that way about all serial killer movies, but the Zodiac is worth it, man. Trust me, I'm telling you. And there you go. There you have it. What do you guys got for me? I want to hear some Ted Cruz stuff. Give me some Ted Cruz stuff.
How did that even go about? Wasn't it because of the picture?
Yeah, so it started off with the fact that he just kind of looked like Ted Cruz. And someone was like, holy shit, it's Ted Cruz.
They put the photos side by, or did the whole half face and combined them of the sketch and his, and I think after that people just ran with it.
The funny thing is that I've looked at that and I'm like, he looks absolutely nothing like him. but it's still fucking hilarious.
Yeah, I think it's hard for me to express how I feel about Ted Cruz because I don't have words bad enough for him. Like I don't have the vocabulary. I don't know if the vocabulary exists to properly portray how much of a fucking waste of a human being Ted Cruz is. And so I think that a lot of people, when they saw this, they were like, you know what? There's a tiny semblance between this sketch and Ted Cruz. Let's just fucking run with it because fuck this guy. And
I'm looking at it. I'm just laughing. Sorry.
No, I was gonna say it's funny. You know the Google autofill or the autocomplete? So the second highest suggestion, like ever, is Ted the Zodiac Killer? Or Ted Cruz, excuse me. That's fucking hilarious. That, at some point, I think a writer suggested to Google to censor that search term. Because it accounted for like 89% of total searches for like autofills. Like I don't know how to explain like how these numbers work, but yeah, like it was a big thing. This is what I'm getting at. To where people had to like suggest like, yo Google, maybe like edit that out or censor it, you know?
all the memes about it are fucking hilarious, like the pictures and all that shit.
Well, and I think that that's, like, the best explanation that anybody has. It's like, does anybody know, like, the real is there hardcore evidence? No. As a matter of fact, there's concrete evidence the other way that he absolutely is not the Zodiac Killer. But does anybody care? No, because that motherfucker likes nothing more than lying anyway. So if he can be untruthful about literally everything in his life, then we can keep calling him the Zodiac Killer because it's funny, even though nobody's 100% sure why it's even funny. But we don't need to know exactly why it's funny. We just need to know that it is funny, and it's funny to me. Yeah, so that's Ted Cruz, the Zodiac Killer. What are you guys' final, like, so Juan, you've told me, you know, you just said that he's not, like, up there as far as, like, your favorite killers, and you explained why. But as far as, like, in American lore, do you consider him being up there with Charlie Manson? And again,
yeah, dude,
not Ed Gein, but like up there with Charlie Manson, maybe Ted Bundy, those kinds of
I'd
people.
put him there with like, with like Ted Bundy, Manson, fucking Dahmer, and what's that other dude? Fucking the one that did the Black Dahlia.
I don't know. I thought they didn't know the Black Dahlia, who did the Black Dahlia.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like, well, that's
it's
what I'm saying. Like, I have them all up there, like, in the same, you know, I guess you want to call it Mount Rushmore. Because, I would say he's also one of those fucking legendary ones. Just the simple fact that he was never caught, and we're still talking about him to this day as far as, like, the news and all that shit. I mean, that's got to say something about him.
Yeah.
So,
yeah,
I mean, he's not my favorite, but I do acknowledge that he's definitely, and I hate to say legendary because these guys don't deserve that kind of fucking recognition. But
iconic.
Yeah, he's definitely one of those.
Well, and I think what you deserve is not always what you get, and that goes for both negative and positive. There are people who have been beacons of light in this world who you couldn't fucking name because nobody knows, and in that same way, it's unfair that these people have become legendary because they murdered people. But that's the grim reality of the situation, is that they are legendary, they are infamous. There's a reason that word exists, and it's these kinds of people. As far as, like, favorite's like a weird word to use, but again, just gonna use it because that's what it is. A favorite of mine? No. There's a lot of killers that I like a lot more as far as like just getting like interesting and that kind of thing. But like Michelle explained so elegantly, the best part of this whole thing is not what he did to kill. It's the way that he went about it, the theatrics, the amount of the zeitgeist that he captured, just being this total piece of shit, but also being brilliant. He had to be brilliant, and he obviously was. So I think that that's where that lands. What about you, Michelle? And maybe tell us, like, if he's not up there, like, who would be up there for you? Like, who, just interest-wise, maybe you don't want to say that they're, like, legendary or whatever.
Yeah, I do think he's definitely up there. I do have a list. It's not concrete, but I do like this idea of, like, especially these killers who have, in a sense, no identity or who were never caught. Like the Black Dahlia, like, oh my gosh, Michelle, Jesus, name. English one.
Jack the Ripper.
Thank you.
Jack the Ripper, yeah.
No, it's like if you want to talk about like being in middle school or high school and looking things up, like those.
That's
stories,
what pops up.
including
It's like,
Zodiac,
yeah, it's like thinking
those are
horror.
ones- Yes, like that. I am insanely like, tell me more, like give me more info. I think of the three, I knew about Zodiac the least amount, and I think it was almost because I saw the movie, and I was like, oh, okay, so they have like this general idea, right? So it was like a little but the more I read about them, I was like, well, like, yeah, I agree with you as far as like evidence. Alan, what was it? No, yeah, Arthur Lee Allen.
Arthur Lee Allen.
And that kind of connection you made with like the letter they received versus like 4 years later, and he was arrested later that year, and that was kind of, you know, the last time they really heard and all of that stuff, you know, it could go both ways, but I personally do think it was him, and I do like everything, especially kind of how you mentioned that it wasn't just like these people being attacked, it was the entire area of, you know, like this section of California, and yeah, it's all the planning that was put into it. Like, that's all this person like lived and breathed for this time. Because how long did it take to come up with this, like the ciphers and write them and make sure, you know, like come up with the name, you know, all sorts of things. And it's just like that kind of psycho is intriguing.
Yeah, and speaking of the ciphers, the whole reason that we chose to do this episode now was because of the brand new cipher that has just been explained, and we totally forgot to read the new cipher. So before I read it, I'll go into a little bit about what happened. This is obviously years later. And this code has been solved. The reason why it hadn't been solved before, and I read this on today, literally today, and I'm not even fucking around. One of the people at the San Francisco Chronicle that worked next, that first of all has been there since the Zodiac was happening, but he worked directly with Robert Graysmith, considered Robert Graysmith a great friend. Obviously, Graysmith not officially even a writer for the Chronicle, he was a cartoonist, but very involved in the case and knows a lot about it, has published about it, this man, and he did an AMA on Reddit today. And what he said is the reason he thinks that this code was found was that they've always had an idea of what to do and how to do it, but it took advanced software to figure out and decipher what was going on. Which to me, again, not trying to glorify this motherfucker, but that's pretty badass. That it took advanced software to figure out what you were putting in your codes years and years and years later.
Like, not just advanced software, but like that plus like 51 years of people trying over and over to decipher them. Like, that's just fucking insane. Like, that's a lot of people, and like, not just years, but like time and like different people like trying to, and it's Jesus.
Yeah,
I'm not admiring him, I swear.
Yeah, I mean, 50 years of brain power, and that's the thing is that, I think we've made our stance very clear as far as, like, we get there are victims here, and the glorification of this kind of stuff, can go, awry really quickly. But I think our job is to talk about how much they set themselves apart from other people and why they're badass in their field. And so what we have as a result is this. The text says, "I hope you are having lots of fun in trying to catch me that wasn't on the TV show, which brings up a point about me. I am not afraid of the gas chamber, because it will send me to a paradise all the sooner. Because I now have enough slaves to work for me where everyone else has nothing when they reach paradise, so they are afraid of death. I am not afraid, because I know that my new life will be an easy one in paradise death." And again, years and years and years later, brain power, the amount of brain power that went into this, in addition to advanced software, you don't want to tip your hat to him, but sir, that's a feat in itself. That's what I've got for the Zodiac Killer. It's pretty late as far as we've been going for almost 2 hours, and so we're gonna get into some housekeeping stuff, and then round this out with the end, the way we usually end things. So housekeeping stuff. Wednesday, Krampus. This episode was information heavy. It was not as much back and forth and all that stuff. Wednesday is going to be different. Wednesday is going to be the complete opposite. We're going to have all sorts of people on. We're going to be doing games. We're going to be talking about Krampus, but obviously not in this way. We're going to talk about Christmas. We're going to talk about Festivus. We're going to talk about Hanukkah. I don't know anything about Kwanzaa. Maybe we'll talk about that. But we're going to have games that I'm working on right now. It's going to be a great way to get into the Christmas spirit and stay safe at the same time. So come hang out with us on Wednesday at 10 o'clock. That is the 23rd of December. Please like, subscribe, comment. Let us know that you're out there. Tell us everything that you're drinking and how you're feeling. And we love you guys for showing up and week after week and letting us continue to do this show, which we really enjoy doing. So thank you so much again, and do all of those things. And I'm going to go ahead and let these guys get into their... Since I talk so much, it's going to be an unlimited amount of time to talk about whatever the fuck you want to talk about that has nothing to do with the Zodiac Killer.
Well, I just gotta say that I'll be playing as Krampus the Trapper next week, so hopefully I don't suck.
Yeah.
Trap Krampus.
Trampus.
Yeah, that's about it. Thanks y'all for joining us today.
Yeah, thank y'all for sticking around. I know I was late, but it's pretty awesome that Josh and Michelle really fucking killed it, held it together, put in some really badass info there, so thank you.
Alright, Josh was definitely the MVP this time around.
Nah, you both got down.
Timeline.
Shit, I was literally listening the whole time. I mean, I didn't do any of this. I was just enjoying it, so.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't have much to say. Just, how's it going? Everyone feeling good? Everyone warm? I have a shot poured out, but I haven't taken it. Did I miss one?
No, let's fucking get down on it. I don't think we owe one, but just in case we owe one, let's fucking do it anyway, and just to be safe. Just to be safe, guys. All right?
Rather
At
be
home.
Yeah.
Don't be fucking judging us, you sons of bitches.
You know you want a shot too, don't? You ain't got to lie, Craig.
You ain't got to lie, Craig. You ain't got to lie.
Kick it.
Yeah, so here is a shot. Michelle, you can do the cheers, if you would like. If not, I'll come up with something, but I'm gonna drop my controller.
Cheers to everyone listening. I hope everyone will stay safe during the upcoming holidays, and please don't leave home. Please don't fuck other people over. Please don't say, oh, I'm gonna go visit a small town like Marfa because it's okay, and there's not that many people, so it's not really putting them at risk, when it's like, no, they actually only have one ambulance and the nearest hospital is 30 minutes away. So don't go to Marfa, it's closed, stay home. Cheers.
Cheers. Cheers, cheers, cheers.
Cheers, cheers, cheers.
Cheers. Oh, sweet Jesus. It's going back the other way. It's not smooth. Anywho's it. That's it for us here on Death by Daylight again. It's going to be completely different on Wednesday. I don't mind doing these episodes. I love doing these episodes. I don't feel like they're as fun, but I feel like they're super informative, and we still get to hang out and talk about cool stuff. But that being said, if the fun stuff is why you tune in and it's more up your alley, that's what we're aiming for on Wednesday. And we're gonna have a lot of fun. Trust me, I've put some good thought into these games, and they're gonna get everybody really involved. And so we're looking forward to that. That's gonna be it for us. Jesus is not here, so I don't know how to carry on with the sign off. I don't know what I'm gonna do, but that's it for us. Say goodbye, everybody.
Okay, bye.
Bye, everybody.
Laters.